And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in recent years, it has become increasingly clear that brain health is not limited to cognitive abilities alone, but it also extends to directly influence over our quality of life. The brain serves as the central driver of physical and psychological balance, social and relationships, and even values and behavior. From this perspective, we explore the relationship between brain health and well-being through 4 key dimensions: biological, psychological, social, and moral understanding, how balance among these aspects shape everyday life. With that being introduction out of the way, let's all welcome Abdullah Alkhlaifah, university lecturer and counselor. With that being said, I do want to first welcome you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Now, we did mention at the start brain health.
Yes.
And I think for a lot of people, and even myself included, you know, that term, it feels a little bit, unusual, brain health, because it feels like it's a separate thing from health. So can you talk us through about that term itself, you know, where it came from, how comprehensive it is?
Sure. I mean, well, you know, as you know, you probably heard a lot about mental health, and mental health is a huge part of brain health. They are linked, absolutely. Now, brain health. Now let's talk about the organ, which is the most important organ of the body, the brain. It has around 100 billion neurons, which are brain cells, and trillions of supporting cells, and it consumes around 20 to 30% of the calories that you consume. So that's why you have to watch what you eat. And
I did not know that.
And around 20% of your oxygen, your blood flow. So it's a very energy-hungry organ, and that's for a reason, because you have information that travels within the brain through your neurons and neurotransmitters around 430 plus kilometers an hour, and it happens constantly. So that's why it requires a lot of energy, because it plays a huge part of your life, basically, from your psychological health, from your way of thinking, all the way to your physical health, you know, how you move and how you carry yourself within life. So brain health plays a huge part of the quality of your life.
And also, you know, speaking of which, can you go a little bit deeper into the relationship between our brain health and our, you know, biological functions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because brain is a biological organ, right? And it's connected to every single part of your body, and also consists of the mind, which is the home of your psychological health, your morals, and the way of thinking and all that. Well, you have your biological health that is your physical health in terms of your energy, in terms of your bones, in terms of your skin, the blood flow, the oxygen that you take in. You know, your brain is the center of all that, is the CEO of all that. It carries the weight of what your body requires. A good example is basically how you carry yourself during stressful times, because when you feel stressed, the cortisol increases, and cortisol is a stress hormone, which is a part of your physical health. And when it increases, is because your brain senses threats from the outside world and cannot define what kind of threat it is, but at the end of the day, a threat is a threat. So it offers your body the information in order for it to protect itself by overworking everything. And when cortisol increases, your blood flow increases, your blood sugar increases, in order for you to have the energy to move on, to run away from the threat. And everything overworks in order for it to protect itself, right? So your brain does the work, and it sends messages to your body and your physical health in order for it to protect itself. So everything is linked, if it makes sense.
It does make sense, but, you know, I want to ask, you know, to what extent does that link goes? Like, does the chemistry in our brain controls our all psychological states, mood behaviors, swings, daily behaviors, or is there a limit to what it contributes to, and then something, you know, maybe external factors come in?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about brain chemistry, you're talking about a lot of the neurotransmitters. For example, you heard about dopamine, or serotonin, or GABA, which are neurotransmitters that affect your day-to-day life. Dopamine plays a part in your motivation, and also as well as known as a happy hormone. And you have the serotonin, which is a mood stabilizer. These neurotransmitters get produced by how you live your life and the quality of your life, and they define your brain health, as well as the opposite. So when you take care of your brain, it offers the space for these neurotransmitters to be produced and to be consumed properly in order for you to have a better day and a better mood throughout your day and make the right decisions.
Now, also, you've mentioned several times, taking care of our brain health. Are there like ways to do so? If someone is struggling and they're a little bit, in uncharted territories.
Yeah.
Is there some things they can change? Maybe little things they can change their daily life that can alter their brain health?
Yes, I mean, believe it or not, you don't have to do major or complicated things in life in order for you to look after your brain health. Start with the simple, typical, or let's say boring things such as sleep.
Oh.
Make sure you sleep well, you sleep healthily and the hours that are required. Make sure you take in the correct amount of nutrition, the correct quality of nutrition, as well as learn how to manage your stress, learn how to manage your emotions. Basically the foundation of how to live your life healthily. This is all of this is a huge part of your brain health, believe it or not.
It is. And speaking about living healthily, on the opposite side of things, living unhealthily, is that why we can classify mental disorders as something, a dysfunctional brain health, or is that completely out of touch?
Actually, yes, but not limited to. Because if you think about brain health, where does it reside? Where's its home exactly? It's your brain, which is the organ. So imagine you're building a house, right? And you have the four walls, you have the ceiling, you have the floor. What's the point of these four walls, ceilings, and floor if you do not decorate, for example, the house? And imagine the decoration or the interior design is your mental health. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
So if you do look after your brain health and you provide that capacity where your mental health can reside in, it could help. But still, you have the outside world that could trigger. You have the past traumas, you have the stresses of life that you go through that could affect your mental health. However, what does support is that the home of your mental health, which is your brain health, especially the biological health, is up to par. It will help in taking care of your mental health. So they are linked.
They are linked, yeah.
Yes.
And we do have a very interesting question here, and I think it requires a larger answer than this, the runtime of this conversation has. But when it comes to ethical decision making, is there a link between how our brain works and the decisions we make, or
yes.
Some people think that they're I do whatever I want to, besides of what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Or is there a link between that?
Yes, there is a link. Interestingly, your brain is very complex, right? And every part of your brain is basically responsible for something in your life. And you have the prefrontal cortex, which is the front part of your brain, or also known as the executive functioning part of your brain, or the CEO of your brain. It is the home of the decision making, right? However, you have the other parts of the brain that work with it. Let's say you have the limbic system, for example, or where you have the amygdala, which is part of the limbic system. You probably know or heard of it. It's responsible for your emotions. Now, if this part of the brain is unhealthy, then your emotions can be somewhat uncontrollable, let's say. And it goes through the frontal part of the brain, where is the decision making.
Yeah.
It also plays the part, the prefrontal cortex plays the part of as a brain's brake, let's say. So whatever goes through it, depending on how healthy your brain is or how healthy your prefrontal cortex, it could say that no, you do not react this way. It could say that yes, you should say this or that. It offers you the space in order to think, to analyze before reacting, before making decisions. So it gives you the space to respond instead of reacting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And mashallah, from hearing all about it, the functions of the brain are just, I want to say brain stopping, but it's a very badly used pun. But mashallah, so many systems, go into it. Like I said, the behaviors, the emotions, the mood swings, and the critical thinking. I do want to ask you, what are things that people are doing that is negatively impacting a lot of these functions, even if it's something they're not really known about?
Well, a lot of the things that they think is no big deal, but it is a big deal. When people are physically inactive, when people are not learning how to manage their emotions, or just allowing stress to take over their lives, and not sleeping well, and allowing their negative thoughts to take over. All of these things, if there is no effort made in looking after yourself, whether it's physical or mental, because everything is linked, that will result in you being more prone to, let's say, submitting to bad habits. And that's where you take on, you know, bad habits such as no, I don't want to give you specific examples, but you know, things that you do in life that's quite harmful, and it's because you are more prone to it by not having that strong mental, or let's say mental strength, in order for you to make the decision. And no means no. Yeah. Or yeah, sure, just submit to things very easily. So yeah.
You know, it's also fascinating how so many things you do in your daily life affect your, you know, brain health in general.
Absolutely.
Sleeping, and also you mentioned that our brain consumes a lot of the calories. And I know this may go into a topic of, you know, fugazi, but you know, are there like specific foods you can have that are, or maybe food genres that can, you know, help your brain health?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely don't want to miss out on having your daily intakes of fruits as well as vegetables. There are brain healthy food specific, such as where you can get omega-3 from, you know, seafood, salmon, for example. But it's better to leave this for nutritionists, because they will offer you the best examples. But definitely look into the healthy side of food and avoid sugar intake, because it is very harmful and it can be extremely addicting, and the blood sugar just increases and it disrupts the blood flow and the oxygen intake of
I mean, it's surreal how much sugar affects so many organs in the body, including the brain, negatively, and yet it is, you know, everywhere. And you know, I can't be a hypocrite, right? I do take sugar with my tea and coffee, so it does taste sweet. But you know, I guess let's go back to the point itself, is that about the brain health. There are some things that people might do. I know you mentioned, you know, sleeping, but I've heard, I'm not sure if it's true, that reading can also help, you know, brain health.
Yes.
Is there truth to any of that?
Reading? Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's better than just watching, it's gluing yourself to the screen for hours, right? Because when you're reading, it activates your imagination. Plus, when you're reading, it's really easy on the eyes. And it's just very soothing for you as a person. It's a very, very good activity. Plus, it offers you new learning every day. Yeah. It's like you're taking your brain to the gym. You know how you go every single day to the gym in order for you to build your muscles? If you learn something new, and you can learn it from reading as one of the methods, it is one of the best methods for your brain health.
It is. And I think someone in your position who has studied so much about the brain, whenever you're in a crowded place and you're seeing people scrolling all the time, it's like a part of you is dying inside of you.
No, sometimes I do it. I'm human as well.
Not overdoing it.
But yeah, no, I do try to control myself, which is an interesting part, because the more you try to take care of your brain health, the more it offers you the mental capacity for you to control and your decisions, and to manage your decisions, because it's very easy to fall for such things. You know, you can scroll all day, but it's you and your connection with the brain that says, no, I have to stop now. You know, it's that mindset that you have to build, and you need your brain to be healthy in order for you to provide you with that space for you to create that strong mindset, that firm mindset, in order for you to limit yourself from things that could be harmful.
It is, and I do want to thank you for, you know, wrapping, I would say, the message, because unfortunately we did run out of time. But I'm glad that we addressed the topic of brain health, and especially how it relates to the modern day of, you know, I would say fast dopamine rushes, where the people searching for the next click, you know. So I do want to thank you for joining us, for taking a day out of your busy day to talk us all about this. Thank you again for joining us.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And all thanks goes to you, dear viewers, for joining us. Of course, that was our guest, Abdullah Alkhlaifah, University lecturer and counselor. We are going to take a break after this one.